Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the 12-page short story in here, and the next story in this collection, Planet Chaos, that we've been doing a deep dive for. It's called Even the Night. It's written by Don Webb. It also stars Jerry Cornelius as the lead, like a previous short story in this collection did, called In the Cornelius Arms. For you folks, he's a cyberpunk, one of the most influential ones. Helped to put Michael Moorcock on the map in a major way, was heavily influential, and so forth. It was one of the first things that he wrote, and he was one of the created a lot of the tropes and founding things in cyberpunk. I'll link you to this collection, Planet Chaos, in the comments below. This is a 1996 collection. It was published, everything was written brand new for this rather than it publishing a bunch of things that had already been written and so forth by guys. I picked it up in college then when it was published, because Michael Moorcock was my favorite author about 5 years, 3 years in high school and 2 years in college. So I picked it up then when I was probably a freshman or sophomore, right around then, doing a deep dive into his stuff, but I never got around to it because, except for the first short story, this is all stuff that was written by other people, right? So I just never got around to reading it. There was always something else that was calling to my attention, so I just kept it. Anyway, so I finished reading, doing a deep dive into Michael Moorcock's Eternal Champion stuff, and a bunch of his novels and such. And so I thought reading this stuff for the first time would be a nice way to sort of end that and so forth. So this is the next short story in the collection for you folks, the 12-page short story that I knocked out last night for the first time in about half an hour. Now, as a reminder, the Eternal Champion is basically a multiverse, and that word comes from Michael Moorcock too. It's the first multiversal conflict. On each plane of existence, there is an avatar who fights the fight against the powers that be of evil, of chaos, and so forth, or sometimes law. Sometimes the law is the dominant one for the powers that be of balance, and so forth, to bring that. So to each area and so forth, but typically that's a chaos, such for that people are working against. Oh, there's a couple of short stories in here where it's law are the bad guys, but anyway, like the one for Gary Gygax. But anyway, so those are happening too for you folks. So that's cool. That's basically what's happening on each, and then they typically have a weapon that's especially made, that's super nasty, like Elric of Anonymity, who was the big hit from this series, and his weapon Stormbringer that will drain people's souls when they connect with him, and that sort of thing. He's one of the most popular ones. Huge hit. He was the big giant character that really caught the imaginations of his generation. Was an anti-hero. He was born with a heart of gold with pangs of consciousness from an evil race of humanoids called the Melanovians, kind of like the Dark Elves from Dritzdor, and similarly caught a lot of the zeitgeist of the 80s, a generation later, right? And so forth. So this is sort of one of the first major anti-heroes and so forth. Anyway, so Jerry Cornelius will tell you that this is more of a science fiction kind of thing, taking place on a contemporary era, and that sort of a thing. So there was a previous short story in here that I gave a 5 to, in the Cornelius Arms, and I like this one a little bit better, but not that much better. It's more mature. It has sex scenes just for sex scenes. It has them doing porn, making porn movies and that sort of a thing. I just didn't particularly think that this was a particularly good use of my time. I just knocked it right and so forth. It has a lot of... So I did like it a little bit better than the Cornelius. It's not that much. So it's probably going to be giving them both a straight 5 out of 10 for you folks. So this one's a slightly higher 5 out of 10 for you folks. But that's the next short story in this collection for you folks. So as a reminder, keep my reviews spoiler free, so I won't be doing a deep dive into what's happening. But what I like to do, typically spend maybe the first couple of pages to keep you sort of caught up what's happening. So our main character, Jerry Cornelius, he is in a bar. He is poisoned and he is killed in the first couple of pages, and then something's going to happen. What's going to happen now? Well, it's too early to kill him off, right? So obviously some other stuff's going to happen and such. But that's basically what's going to wind up happening. That's the first couple of pages, and then things happen from now, of the 12 pages. So I'll leave you to your imagination as to find out what's going to happen to Jerry Cornelius. All right, so there you are. So anyway, that's the story. And my review thereof. As a reminder, this channel's name, The Worst Thing About New Books, is a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, in the 19th century, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? So a 1996 work by this guy who's written a few hundred articles here and there, I think it's definitely some fun stuff to go ahead to take a look at and so forth. So I do like this sort of thing of trying to find some of these collections and people that are maybe have been forgotten to time, or maybe classic people that just have stories that you've never heard of, or things that you've just never got around to writing, and that sort of thing. So that's what I try to find for this channel. That's the passion of mine. So there you are. Have you read this? If so, what did you think about it? Did you agree, disagree? My 5 out of 10. If you want to talk about it in the comments or spoilers, let's do it in spoiler tags. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button and feeling frisky, the bell icon, and hit the like button, share with your friends, and so forth. And then finally, I just wanted to pause and thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.